Mega Entrepreneur Series, Edition 6, titled Digital Transformation for Engineers. To kickstart this, we'll be calling on Brother Hassan Yusuf to help us with the opening prayer.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. Wassalatu wassalamu ala ashrafil anbiya'i wal mursalin. Sayyidina Muhammadin wa ala ahlihi wa ashabihi ajma'in. All praise is due to Allah, the most gracious, the most merciful. We ask Allah in His infinite mercy to bless this gathering, increase us in knowledge, unite our hearts in goodness, and make this event a beneficial one, and bless us with wisdom to implement what we learn. Allahumma rabbana atina fid dunya hasana wa fil akhirati hasana wa qina azaban nar. Allahumma ya muqallibal qulub thabbit qalbi ala dinik. Allahumma ya muqallibal qulub thabbit qalbi ala dinik. Allahumma ya muqallibal qulub thabbit qalbi ala dinik. Allahumma innaka afuwun tuhibbul afwa fa'fu anni. اللهم إنك عفو تحب العفو فاعف عني. اللهم إنك عفو تحب العفو فاعف عني. O Allah, accept our dua, forgive our sins and grants, and guide our hearts. اللهم صل على محمد وعلى آل محمد كما صليت على إبراهيم وعلى آل إبراهيم إنك حميد مجيد. اللهم بارك على محمد وعلى آل محمد كما باركت على إبراهيم وعلى آل إبراهيم إنك حميد مجيد. آمين يا رب العالمين.
Amen. Jazakumullah khairan, Brother Hassan, for the amazing opening prayer. I hope we might accept it and count it as an ujjah for us and not against us. Without taking much of our time, we'll just go into the reason why we are on the call today. Once again, greetings to everyone. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. It's a pleasure to welcome you all to this session on digital transformation for entrepreneurs. This topic is not just timely, it's also very urgent for every business builder in the room. Whether you're running a business or you're just starting out, one thing that we all know is certain that the way we run business has changed forever. How we reach customers, how we manage operations, to even how we make decisions. Digital tools they are no longer optional. They are actually very, very foundational. In order to take over time, I'll just hint before I call on the speaker for today. I'll just tell us a very, very short story about a lady. I'll just mask her name and call her Aisha, who run a small fashion business here in Nigeria. She's a very good designer. She had great designs and loyal customer. But we all knew what happened during the pandemic, COVID. Markets were shut down, foot traffic disappeared. For weeks, she had no sales. Sales drops to zero, which most people experience during the pandemic. But she didn't give up. Prior to the pandemic happening, she didn't even have a website. Neither did she even have a business Instagram. So she started small. She learned how to take photos with her phone. She posted photos on WhatsApp status. She used Google Form to take orders and started offering delivery post-COVID. She got help setting up a small and simple online store for her business. And you know what? Within 6 months, she started selling twice as much as she used to when she was also running a physical business, not just locally, but even across Nigeria. People saw some of her designs and they ordered for it. And now she's now making twice as much. As you can see, what's changed for her, it's not the fashion that changed. She's still sewing the same designs, It's not just the creativity, but one thing, she has been able to use digital tools to reach and serve our customers. That is what digital transformation is about. It's not just having the latest software or biggest budget. Today, we are going to explore some of the ways on how to do that. So I encourage every one of us, myself inclusive, to be fully present, ask questions, and let's think about what our Aisha moments would be on this call. So I'll be introducing a speaker who will be guiding us through this today. So for our speaker, it's an honor for me to introduce our speaker. He's someone who I look up to. I've heard a lot about him. He is the Chief Executive Officer of PayVantage Limited, a digital financial service company that is transforming how emerging markets access and use mobile payments. Whether we know it or not, I'm sure, at least for those of us in Nigeria, we would have used one way or the other the back-end service of PayVantage. He has over 15 years hands-on experience in the fintech and financial services sector. Mr. Balogun brings a wealth of expertise in product development, digital transformation, and mobile banking innovation. He is also the founder and director of InsurTech, a pioneering digital platform that partners with mobile network operators to enable secure financial transactions for users with even basic feature phone, proving that innovation can be both inclusive and impactful. Our speaker has held several key leadership roles across top institutions, including Nine Mobile, Access Bank, Guarantee Trust Bank, and Etisalat Nigeria, where he led the development of mobile financial services and digital channel. In addition to his corporate roles, he serves as a mentor with Startup Arewa, supporting the growth of emerging tech entrepreneurs across Nigeria's northern region. Today, Mr. Balogun will share from his rich experience in digital innovation and helping us understand how entrepreneurs can leverage technology to transform their businesses in today's fast-moving digital economy. Please join me in welcoming Mr. Femi Balogun. Assalamu alaikum, sir.
It's my pleasure to be in the midst of my brothers and sisters that are engineers. I'm also an engineer. Please, can you hear me?
Yes. Yeah, we can.
And it's a great privilege for us to have this discussion. I classify it as a discussion because I believe that we already have vast experience in the digital transformation stage. However, it's for us to look at how can we, with Allah's mercy, support the Ummah. How can we use our wealth of knowledge to support the Ummah? May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala make it easy for us and bless our work. Amen. So the topic is digital transformation innovation for entrepreneurs. When I started preparing my slides, had to, have series of brainstorming session, brainwave to see. So my brothers are presenting to today what is really the message to be passed across. My brothers are engineers. Most of us already understand and know all these emerging technologies. And I decided to go with this format that I'm going to be sharing. So please feel free to ask questions. We would, of course, after the presentation, and then we'll share a series of case studies. May Allah make it beneficial to us. So digital transformation, innovation for entrepreneurs, empowering businesses in the digital age. So the thinking is clear that, okay, either we are business owners, of course, expectation is that we are entrepreneurs. And entrepreneurs, in my thinking, is not about, it's not just having your own entity. It's not about having your own startups or companies, everyone should have an entrepreneurship mindset, right? And that you can have such mindset, right? And then you will not be exceptional at what you do, even if you're working with someone, right? You would you'll be seen as an exceptional person because you have an entrepreneurship mindset. You have a ownership mindset, a owner mindset, and that's why you will not be able to you won't be able to sleep when services are down. You continuously to think for the business, and at the end of the day, you'll be at the top of your career. So wow, how are we going to run today? We're going to be looking at the outline. The outline is going to be in this model. We'll look at the overview. Excuse me. Overview is going to be vast as much as we can. Will lead to, we'll now dive into understanding innovations. We're going to be taking some learnings from the Harvard professor, Professor Clancy, how he defined, he was known as father of modern innovation, disruptive innovations. We'll look at that. We'll look at Nigerian landscapes, so digital landscapes, look at Nigerian digital landscapes based on some facts that are available. We'll touch base briefly on emerging technologies, which I believe all of us here will know, right? We'll dive into market strategy and case studies. We'll look at a series of case studies and see how they've been able to deploy digital transformation, be able to leverage innovations, and what has been the results. And then we'll go to our role as Muslim brothers and sisters, and then the next steps. Now, let's look at the overview. What's the overview? So in my thinking, I feel that let's start with the problem statement, right? So what are the problem statements today? What are the challenges facing us as professionals? What are the challenges facing us as women? What are the challenges facing us as a community? And I classify it into three, right? We are living in the past. Most of us lives in the past, right? We still believe that that is how we should do it. That's how we've been doing it, right? We are afraid of failures. We don't want to fail. And you know, Prophet Muhammad Sallallahu one of his hadiths even admitted that you can fail. What he says is that Muslim cannot make mistakes in the same MO twice, right? And the way I look at it, in my own view, what I tell my team, in most cases is that once we made a mistake, once they try something and we made a mistake, right? One of them I'll tell them is that we have used that money. We have, and most times because we deal in payment transactions, we, in some cases, we lose money, we lose millions. And anyways, and one of them I'll tell them that, you know, guys, what we have used that money to acquire knowledge. What is very important is that we must not commit such mistakes again. And also, one of our challenges also, we are not agile. You know, we want to do everything before we launch something like that or anything that we're doing. We don't approach the minimum of MVP, which is minimum viable product. We're not ready to test the market and see what is our service going to look like, how is the market going to accept it, and we forever commit efforts in what we're doing. And at the end of the day, we push it to the market, and unfortunately, market is not even ready for it. Now, what is moving on? Further problem statements. It's we technically face challenges, right, around reaching the customers. Some of us have, in quotes, great concepts, but we don't know how to reach the customer. It may be engineering concepts, it may be other things that we have, but reaching the customer is a major challenge for us. Again, some of us have a challenge around even knowing the customer. We don't even know the customer, right? And then and some of us also have challenges around, you know, serving the customers. I'll give you an example. I was discussing with some people today in my early morning meetings with some brothers today, and I was talking about, you know, having just by the side, just talking about having a My 12 market online where you sell a product and people can go to online and buy that product almost the same price as that of my top market, right? And then, serving the customer comes into the place. How do you even know the customer? And I was picking a place around um, around Omole Phase 1, which is where I stay, and I'm saying that this Omole Phase 1 already is the market. How do you now serve them? So we tend to face challenge around these three scenarios around reaching the customers, knowing the customers, and even serving the customers. But interestingly, these are problem statements that we usually have as a business owner, as an entrepreneurs, even as trying to launch services in where we find ourselves, where we work, or trying to do something innovative or scale businesses. Because at the end of the day, we usually talk about organizations are interested in growth. Anybody that launch any propositions, what they are really interested in is where is the growth? Nobody's just doing things, digital transformation and all those things. It's around growth. And I said digital platforms stimulate customer behavior and drive transaction growth, because any organizations, anywhere we work, our businesses, we want to record growth. And that's why if we even look at a case of Microsoft, we've seen that maybe they've asked maybe 12,000 of their employees to go. One of the things we look at is that it's all about growth, because again, they look at, they spend some money on Gen AI, right? And now they are looking at how can we reduce our workforce, more like reducing their operating expense. And then they want to make their bottom line to be better, and that's growth. Now, moving on to the next slide is, I decided to show us this slide just for us to have an understanding of evolution of technology. It's very interesting because, again, we look at from the land phone to first mobile to the one that we are using, Motorola, or I passed my, then to Nokia 3310, and then to the color one. You can see the trend. Of course, that's moved beyond this, right? We'll have different phones, so iPhone 16, we'll have Fold 6, and all of that's technology. And I look at it, that is evolution of technology. Digital technology evolution is moving very faster, and we cannot afford to be left behind. Left behind meaning that we cannot afford to leverage these resources, this technology, to do something great for ourselves and also, importantly, for the woman. We'll look at understanding innovation in businesses. So have a look at technology, we'll look at a problem statement. What is innovation? Let's understand innovation in businesses. And for me, I work with this model that I learned from that professor of disruptive innovation in Harvard, Professor Clinton, late Professor Clinton, define innovation into two levels. It defines sustaining innovation and disruptive innovations, right? And what is sustaining? Sustaining innovation today is things that you do based on its understanding and based on its definition that I align with, things that you do to improve performance of a product. You will see that some organizations stay in that level of sustaining innovation. Example, you have Fold 3, Fold 4, you have Fold 5, you have Fold 6. They are technically still targeting the same market. However, they are doing things to enhance the products or the features that they have. So you start seeing, if we look at it today, you see, let's use an example. You see a mobile app of a bank. They will release another mobile app with other features, right? All of those things are classified as sustaining innovations. Sustaining innovation is not bad, of course. It also gives values, right? And the other innovation is disruptive. And it defines disruptive innovation as innovation that cannot really compete, with the established markets. They have features that are not really that good for the existing customers, right? But they are cheaper, they are simpler, and they are frequently more convenient to use. Now, what does this mean? I'm still going to share some case studies where I'm going to look at this. But what it means is that, for me, we look at it from, okay, I have, let me give an example. I have a feature phone, right? But I want to leverage on Google Maps. I have a future phone, and then I want to leverage on Google Maps so that I can also be able to check traffic route or best route for me. This is something that myself and one of my friends deployed in I think it's 2017 or 2018, that we look at, okay, there are over 50 or 60% Nigerians with feature phone. How can they use Google Maps? I will leverage it on USSD, where you can just put in your what's it called, your location and your destination. And we partner with Google at that time, where we call Google APIs, right? And they send it to you via SMS. Best routes. Interestingly, the adoption was good. People commented about it. But again, we're not able to take it further because of some constraints. But what we are saying is that if you look at that on Google Maps, Google Maps on our mobile phone, it's not as robust as Google Maps. But again, it can give us, it is more cheaper and simpler for those people that use this feature phone. That's just an example. We're still going to dive into series of case studies to look at, to better understand all of these technologies or innovations types as it is. My brothers and sisters, customer need help. What are we talking about here is that all customers, and we are all customers. Customer is just saying that I need someone with a solution to help me get my job done. I'll give a case study. Uber came up with a platform, right, where people can put in their cars and be able to make money. But my brothers and sisters, what led to that is that Uber on its own side, there are some guys, I've forgotten that story, but I have it in one of my documentation, but you want to go out to Yaba. However, you are not comfortable using all these yellow buses, but you want to get to Yaba. You as a customer, what you need is that you want to get to Yaba. In another case is that, but you need something to make that job easy for you based on what you have, and that is your problem statement. I need someone or a solution to help me get my job done. What is your job? You want to get to Yaba, but you cannot afford to buy a car, but you can afford to pay for something that come and pick you at home. And this is a concept that we must have in mind, that what job do that customer need? Everybody needs help, my brothers and sisters. And that's why innovation comes in. That's why that's where innovation comes in. And that's where it can be disruptive or can be sustaining innovation. You need help to get your job done. Uber observed that there's a need for this. People cannot use their car because even they have a car, but it's stressful for them. And they come up with a platform where another person on the other side they've got car, right? They work maybe 2 times in a week that they have to go to the office. They park the car and they say that I need help. What help? That person is looking at how he can better maximize the use of that car, right, to make more money without going to the street and saying that yaba, 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 yaba. Somebody call me from where I sit. I enter my car and I go, I pick that person and I drop the person. With the platform, Uber have been able to address at least minimum of 2 people's concern. The person that has money cannot afford a car. The person that has a car, but looking at how to monetize that car, make more money off the car by coming up with a platform. We must have this mindset that you as a customer, you need help. We have mobile phone. What you need to do is that you wanted to communicate. What is your help that you need is that you want to communicate. Now there's a mobile phone that is now in between, providing you a platform for you to communicate. That mobile phone, you spend your money on it because that mobile phone has addressed your challenge, which is you want to communicate. So in our digital transformation strategy as an entrepreneurs, we must look at what job does the customer needs to get done? So I was talking to some people around this latest release of Samsung phone. Somebody was using it and that person was beside me. And the person was saying that, Femi, you know what? Samsung said that you can open this phone, this Fold 6, 200,000 times before it started having issues. And I was looking at it that, okay, interesting. What must have happened is that they must have seen that people opened that Fold 4 or Fold 5 a lot, and people are having issues around that screen, right? And they say that, okay, what help does the customer need? The customer needs to open this phone more, right? And they come up with a new feature, which technically I can call it sustaining innovation on that end. But basically, my brothers and sisters, we as a professional, we as an entrepreneur, right, need to continuously ask ourselves, what job that the customer needs to get done, and how can I help? Let's quickly look at the digital landscapes, and that's why it's becoming interesting for us to look at these numbers. As at my last check, like 4 months ago, there are over 290 mobile phone users in this country. 290 million mobile phone users. Adults with mobile phones are 103 million. These figures are from NCC and some from Enfina. That's why I said Enfina 2003 survey, NCC website. Adult population that is greater than or equals to 18 years is 111 million. Nigeria on Facebook, over 50%, 43 million. Over 50% of them are youth. And this explains why Mark Zuckerberg was in this country. And Nigeria controls like maybe 20% of the market share. So people look at Mark Zuckerberg likes our country, decided to come. Not really, right? But because he look at the market share and he's seeing the numbers that, man, this is not a market that I have to joke with. 43 million Nigerians are on Facebook, and over 50% of them are youth. This is part of the digital landscapes that we have to look at. Again, smartphone penetration is maybe 50, 60%. I don't have the exact figure. But these are landscapes that we have to look at that, okay, if I even want to re-innovate, is it worth a why? Where are we going to put that innovation? What are the market sizing? How do I reach them and all of those things? Now, let's look at MSME, because again, MSMEs are the drivers of Nigerian GDP. Now, based on NFDC and CBN and Enfina reports, excuse me, we have 39 million MSMEs in this country. 39 million MSMEs, they contribute to 46% of Nigerian GDP, 40% of them are women. So all of these informations are things that is telling us that looking at our digital landscapes, there are opportunities for us as an entrepreneurs. And those opportunities, we have numbers, we can see the numbers, we can see the, what's it called? We can see the mobile phone users. And why am I showing you women? I'm showing you women because we already know what is happening today in terms of, diversity and inclusion. We must be strategic, even in terms of helping the woman. We must be strategic around putting something out there to address some of the pain points of the women. And even some other insight shows that 46 million Nigerians, 46 million Nigerian women need empowerment, either technology empowerment, either financial economy empowerment. 46 million women in this country need empowerment. Now let's go to technology. My brothers and sisters, our understanding should be clear. Technology is not a product. Technology is not a product, but is an enabler. So if I say Uber has leverage on technology to build an Uber, yes. However, it's an enabler because it's enabling some transactions to happen. If we say that we have a payment platform, yes, you are leveraging technology to enable payments. So technology is not necessarily a product, but it is an enabler that enables a product to come up. It's an enabler that solves customer problems. It's an enabler that supports in helping a customer to get their job done. We know all of these technologies. I'm not going to dive too much into it. We know blockchain today, we know virtual reality and augmented reality. We know all of these things, and that's why I am just passing a message across that this is an enabler, right? and we must leverage on them and see them as an enabler because we already have a problem statement. What technology can I use to? What technology can I leverage as an enabler to address this customer pain points? We'll dive into pros and cons. Of course, we know the pros. We have innovation. We have to leverage digital technologies, efficiency and productivity. That's why some people are being laid off after they leverage Gen AI. Improve quality of life. Yes, because again, you can. I'm here now, connecting to you and speaking to my brothers and sisters. You are also connected from anywhere in the world, listening to this our discussion, global connectivity, sustainability, and these are the risks. Of course, job displacement, privacy concerns, people have access to your privacy. In that way, we know all of this, and then we can research about all of this. Now, I will talk about innovation. I haven't talked about the digital landscape. We have talked about the problem statements. Now, if we want to move, or we have been moving, we want to scale, what strategy should we deploy in our innovation and digital transformation strategies? Now, we have two strategies that is currently being deployed, and we're still going to look at case studies. My brothers and sisters, we have what they call emerging strategy, and we have what they call deliberate strategy. Now, in our innovation, in our innovative ideas, as we approach the market or as we deploy all of these things in our organizations or in our businesses, my brothers and sisters would like us to look at which strategy am I deploying. There's what they call emerging strategy. Emerging strategy stated that money must be impatient for profits, but patient for growth. What does this mean, my brothers and sisters? Are the emerging strategies when you are about testing your hypothesis? You are so excited that there's a problem. You are so excited that customer has a pain point. You are so excited that you want to address it. And you say, oh, this thing, we are going to get 5 million customer base. We are going to make 25 billion. I usually tell my finance people that it's easy to crush numbers in Excel. If it's Excel, you can put in 1 million, multiply it by 500 Tera, and it will give you X million. But at emerging strategy, money must be patient for profits. And this is where you are testing your hypothesis. This is where you want to be sure that that innovative idea that you want to use that to address that customer pain point, it is profitable. And that is why, my brothers and sisters, some of us here will not be too crazy at the early stage. I'm using that word carefully. At the early stage about the so-called VC funds, right? Or the so-called raising fund and all those details that we see today that happens. Somebody has raised $20 million. It has stopped now because there's no free money any longer. You want to test that that product is really profitable. And how do you test this? Is that you must apply in any most things that we do, my brothers and sisters, we must apply emerging strategy, where you test the waters and you see that it's profitable. And that's why I said at the beginning, you are testing your hypothesis. You are picking a clusters. You are truly validating that customer has a pain point. Because my brothers and sisters, anything that customer has a pain point for, they are willing to pay for it. Money must be patient for profits, meaning that the money that you're putting into that business, we are going into partnership. You are setting up your own businesses, right? You must make money at the short time. Don't let anybody say, no, my brother, we are going to make money in future. No. Show me. We are in emerging strategy. Your colleagues in the office is coming up with an idea, right? How do we make money? Money is not necessarily will sell. Money is what is the cost savings. I tell my team that I'm optimizing costs. I don't like using that word, I'm saving costs, right? Where is the cost optimization? Because again, if you optimize costs, it reduces the operating expense and increases the profits. So Money must be impatient for profit, but patient for growth. What does this mean? At the early stage, you want to launch a service. You won't say that, my brothers, we are going to need 100 million. We'll do like this. We'll do like, no. Market size is huge. We have 10 million people. Wait, let's even test with 5,000 or 500 people. Money must be impatient for profit, but patient for growth, but deliberate strategy. My brothers and sisters, once you have tested the emerging strategy and you have seen it work, meaning that we have put in 100,000, we're able to make 25,000 or 30,000 in maybe 6 months, in maybe 1 year, or we have done this thing with 2 or 3 customers. We pick some set of customers, we decided to enhance their solution, and we see that there's a cost saving of X. Then you go to deliberate strategy. Deliberate strategy, my brothers. Money must be patient for profit, but impatient for growth. At deliberate strategy, after you have finished emerging strategy and you see that the business is profitable, and you see that there's a market size, you will now chase that market. Because what you are trying to do at that time is that you want to unlock more value from that market, quickly acquire as much market size as possible so that you can be a top number 1 or number 2 in the market. At that time, my brothers and sisters, is when you should be looking at funding. And I'm going to show some example of what has worked, right? At that time is when you should be looking at funding for people to bring in their funds, right? Because you are saying that I need to quickly close this market. I need to quickly grow and then unlock value from these customers. And at that time, that's what we're talking about. Deliberate strategy. Money must be patient for profit, but impatient for growth. And I'll give you an example. Even the so-called big companies today, MTN deployed a deliberate strategy after they have tested the emerging strategy in this our country that we find ourselves. And that's why they quickly cover the market share by doing different promos, they're doing different buy this thing, get this, because they want to quickly grow, right? And they were patient for profit. Now, we look at case studies and discussions. These are case studies, right, and discussions. Let me start from the one that we know, which is GTBank 737. My brothers and sisters, GTBank 737 is technically can be classified as a disruptive innovation and maybe sustaining too, because sometimes they can be interwoven. Let's look at it. Before, people were on people that were using umbrella to sell recharge cards. They were everywhere, and they were using recharge card. And people like us, maybe when the bank has not even started using the mobile app for recharge card, because they started from USSD, anyways, heavily from USSD. Because I remember those times when I was in GTBank, I was part of this thing, I was working on this solution. Now, but what is the point? You are a customer. You have money in your bank account. The job that you need to get done at that time, my brothers, is that you want to buy airtime. That is your job. That is the job that you need to get done. But because there are no channels or platforms, people have not leveraged on technology that can help you get your job done, right? You will decide to leave your house, or you decided to leave your house to go and meet somebody that is under the umbrella. You buy the physical recharge card, you will scratch it, and then you will now load it. That behavior is called a compensating behavior. Compensating behavior is that something that you don't have an option. GTBank came up with a 737. USSD is a technology by the telco. Interestingly, telco has never developed USSD for financial services. In fact, you can count, my brothers and sisters, you can count the country that they have used USSD for financial service. I was in, what's it called? I was in Kenya to study M-Pesa during the days of Etisalat when we want to launch a bank. And you see that they are not even using USSD in Kenya. They are using what they call STK. I know we have some electrical engineers or telecoms guys here. They are using STK even in Kenya. But the leverage on 737, the leverage on USSD. USSD is a technology, right? And the technology becomes an enabler for people, feature phone users, to be able to buy airtime seamlessly from their mobile phone. My brothers and sisters, on top of my head, the total airtime sales on USSD today, right, every month cannot be less than 50 billion. The total airtime sales, no, it can't, no. So I'm sorry. The total airtime sales on USSD today, right, by banks cannot be less than 100 billion or 150 billion every month, my brothers and sisters. Now, you ask a question. Most people that uses this channel are feature phone users. It's a disruptive platform because those guys, it is simple, it is cheaper, and it is easy for you to use because they don't have to buy, and this is an example of a disruptive innovation. If you have this solution, for example, these are things that today, because one of our star company manages work with Abaripay to manage 737 as we speak today of GT Bank, you see the transactions, and anyways, this is what you see happening, right? And it's an example of disruptive innovation. What happened, my brothers and sisters? People that are using Umbrella are nowhere to be found again because that technology, which is as an enabler, has led to disruption for them. But we must not forget, a disruptor can be a disruptive tomorrow. We must continuously innovate. Let's go to GT Easy Savers. GT Easy Savers is a product that won the Financial Inclusion Product of the Year in 2015. What is the idea? It's a disruptive innovation anyways, because again, they partner with Etisalat for future phone users, right, to be able to open a bank account from the comfort of their mobile phone. You know, so the concept here, let me just explain, is that feature phone users cannot, they don't have access, people that are living maybe in the rural areas, they don't have access to banking services, but they've got mobile phone. And Etisalat partners with GT Bank for you to be able to, this technology was very great, they leverage USSD, but again, you dial a code, you bring in your SIM reg details, you press one, and an account is automatically open for you. But interestingly, let's go at the Quick Cash. Quick Cash, I was privileged, my brothers and sisters, because a privilege is not a right, to work with some guys. They were from from Stanford. One of them is Professor Kunle Olukotu, who is currently in Stanford as a professor of computer science. And that was the first time some of the things that we learned in university that I see it at work. Because they used artificial intelligence, machine learning, to model the subscribers' data. Averagely, I can't remember, but I know that telcos generate more than 1 terabyte or a lot of data every, I don't know, I've forgotten those high level of data that they generate every time you make a call. And, daily, what they generate as customers' data. But what we are saying in essence here is that they were able to mine subscriber data and determine, using a lot of machine learning and like, to determine the probability of default when a loan is extended to a customer. These were massive that they leverage, and these are people that they have never have access to loan, but they believe that you make calls. So they did a lot of programming, machine learning, and the likes on the platform or your data to see that I am Femi Balogun. I call Brother Issa Jubri often. Brother Issa Jubri called Fashola often. If Femi Balogun is calling Brother Issa Jubri often, and Brother Jubri is calling Babatunde Fashola often, and Bode and the likes, I'm sorry, I've just used as an example. And maybe some other Islamic scholars, And Brother Issa Jubri says here, there is tendency that if you extend credit to Femi Balogun, it will not default, looking at your cluster of networks. And these are huge data that they model. And this became an access to credit for most Nigerians. Of course, it's RIBA, which is we're not talking about, but we're just talking about how they leverage the technology for people to have access to credit. And now we have 931. This is another technology that they deployed for people to be able to buy motor insurance from the comfort of their mobile phone. Okay, let's go to the one that we also know, excuse me, which is OPay. My brothers and sisters, MoneyPoint, Alert, and Kuda, these are deliberate strategies. You know what this guy did? Is that at the early stage, it was emerging strategy. They tested the water because I know the time that OPay came into this country, right? And all these kudas, all these money points guys, I know when we started all of these things because then I was in Etisalat. But again, what have they done? They've done what they call deliberate strategy. They tested the hypothesis at the beginning, my brothers and sisters. They tried that, okay, you know what? Let's deploy a solution. And they start seeing people coming in. They were doing free transfers, right? But because they were doing free transfers, they know that people were now putting money in their bank accounts and they were able to use those money for some other financial services. And it became profitable. What do? They raise funds because they have tested the emerging strategy and it was profitable, right? They raise funds. And between me and you, my brothers, Money Point OPay, I don't know much about Kuda, but Money Point OPay are profitable business. Because they are not PLCs, they won't disclose their figures. They are profitable business because they tested their hypothesis at the early stage and they see that it's profitable. They immediately converted it to deliberate strategy. They show the business models. They show the market sizing. They leverage technology as an enabler for instant payments and the likes, and they became a disruptor. Banks today are struggling, right, from these disruptors because, again, they have been able to immediately convert their emerging strategy to deliberate strategy, and they are winning. Direction, breaking the silos. I feel that I should share this slide with you, my brothers and sisters. Collaboration is key. What has worked for us in PayVantage is collaboration. We have to collaborate with people with value. No sentiments, my brothers. No sentiments. You have to collaborate with people. You have to also apply what we call your life leverage, concept of life leverage. Concept of life leverage is simple. You have a strength and you have a weakness. It's only Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that is perfect. You have your strengths, you have your weakness. In business strategy, you must be able to know where are your strengths, where are your weaknesses, even in an organization, right? Where are your strengths, where are your weaknesses, and then you collaborate. You have a value here, I have a value here. You come together, and that's one of the things we have done even in our relationship, in PayVantage and the likes. We have people that are very subject matter experts in technology, and we have people that are subject matter experts in strategies and the likes. So you bring people together, term must be clear. And because you are Muslims, money is a byproduct of value. So money automatically will come. How much do you need? And that's why sometimes I ask people, how much do you need? You know, if you feel that, okay, it is 5 billion, I'll tell you, okay, after 5 billion, what next? And that's why, my brothers and sisters, we must, this is our strategy that we're trying to work on. We must not be driven by money. We must be driven by value. In leveraging digital transformation, or digital technology as an innovation for us as an entrepreneurs, my brothers, we must be driven by value. We must be driven by we want to support and help the woman. No sentiments. You get people that have got value to deliver the value, right? But because money will come. So I tell you, if you have a 5 billion, I was calling some people yesterday and I said, guys, if you have 5 billion, what will happen? And they were looking at it. I said, if you have 5 billion and you put 5 billion in an ethical investment, you can get as high as 20%. If you get 20%, that's another 1 billion. If you divide 1 billion divided by 12, right? That's average of maybe close to 90 million or 80 million. 80 million monthly. What do you want to do, my brother? If you want to be going to Umrah every Friday, that money will not finish. If you want to, what do you want to do? And that's something that it may look so funny, but that's what it is. You don't need money, is the byproduct of value. Of course, we need money there. You can say, baby, don't come with all those ones. So I'll be building mosque around. Yes. But that money will continue to add up. But if you are driven by value, once we have achieved this for the woman, for yourself, and for the group, what next do we need to do? Collaboration, we must have a growth mindset. We must continuously believe that we can do it. And with Allah's mercy, my brothers, we can do it. Continuous learning is key and empowering people. My brothers, it's very important for me to say this year, we are gradually getting to our peak. I know some of you maybe 10 years, 15 years, 7 years, 8 years, and the fresh ones, but some of us are getting to our peak of our career. And we need to start looking at ourselves at, in the next 10 years, what happens to me? Either you like it or not, in the next 10 years or 12 years, you're gradually going out of the industry. can't I start empowering people? It's very important, especially ones that are Muslims. This Nadella vision, good business leaders create a vision, articulate the vision, passionate own the vision, and directly drive it. Jack Welch, that's the pharmacy of G. Empathy-driven culture, we must be empathetic about things. Roll our next steps. My brothers and sisters, let's be open-minded in what we do. Let's have an open mind to achieve it. Let's be innovative. We must be agile. We must invest. And we must have a robust execution. Thank you for having me. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala accept this as an act of worship and make it beneficial for us. Assalamu alaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Jazakumullahu khairan, sir, for such a mind-blowing session. I hope Prayer might accept it from you and make it an uja for you and not against you in your judgment. I'm sure we've all learned one or two things from today's session. So because of time, I will just be taking like one or two questions. And if you have more questions after this, you can always send it to the Ras Omega platform. We would always forward it to our lecturer. So if you have questions, you can drop it in the chat, and then I will take questions. So if you have any question, you can drop it in the chat. Okay, while we are with question, I'm sure as we've been following the Ras Omega Entrepreneurship series, we know for each of the session, we used to have like a quiz on the topic of the day itself. And so once we have quiz, there's always a gift for the winner. Okay. I think the chairman has something to say. So yeah, please. So I'm going to omit the chairman, I think, to say one or two things.
Okay, thank you, Jubril. Thanks to Femi for that lecture, that eye-opening lecture. So my question is this: there's this notion about technology being expensive. You can't afford it. You're a small business. You are this. You are that, and this, in a way, let maybe some small business entrepreneurs, that are just growing, they'd lock their mind out of, okay, do I really need to spend money on this technology since it's very expensive? Whereas maybe there's some other platforms that are cheaper and also can be used to reach out to more of their potential customers. So I want to ask, what advice do you have, or how do you expect small business owners to look at the way they can invest in technology to drive value into their business, and in return, expand their business footprint and translate to revenue for them as small entrepreneurs? I don't know if that question is clear. Jubril?
Yes, it is.
Okay.
Okay, do we have any other question, or like if we have one more, then we can respond to them together? Okay. Oh, sorry. Okay, maybe we can take that.
Okay,
first.
so thank you, Saba, for that question. Number one is that we must look at it from a problem. So I'll see that the MSMEs or small businesses, SMEs, are not willing to incur I will call it a capex, to start their business or to enable their business, and because they don't have that fund. Now, it's a problem that the customer needs to get up, right? For me, I can see another business opportunity in that. Once I see that the market size is big. Now, we're talking about 39 MSMEs. Let's even say is 1% of them that has that challenge. 1% of them is 390,000, right? 390,000 times 1,000. I'm just looking at small mathematics. Times 1,000 is 390 million. Times 10,000 is 3.9 billion. Now, if that is the market size, for example, right? I would rather see an opportunity in that by creating a platform as a service, right? Or a software as a service, as the case may be. And I will go into what's it called now? I will go into a subscription base, right? So I'm looking at it from an opportunity. And again, we need to support all those small businesses to scale. And it will also align with our Islamic principles of a win-win model, right? So if people, and for me, because we're talking about, testing your hypotheses and the likes, we just need to see an opportunity in such areas and see how can we give them those services as either a platform as a services, a software as a services, and they make money. We make money as they make money, provided we know that that thing can scale. On the other side is that even for MSMEs and the likes, once we're convinced that, okay, this technology can take us there, right? And how do we approach it? Can we even say that those people that provided that technology can give us a POC maybe for 3 months and see how it works? That POC, we can quickly use it to test our hypotheses and call it more like a emerging strategy. What can we get out of that? And what is it profitable? My brothers and sisters, 10% or 100% of 1 million is less than 10% of 1 billion. So what I'm saying in essence is that once I've done a POC, I see it's profitable, I don't have the funds. Can I bring in 1 or 2 other people that will have the same value to come in as an investor, right? This is my business, this is my POC, this is the market size. Can you bring in more funds, right? We have been on the terms. And then from 100% of 1 million, you become having the 10% of 1 billion, which is 100 million. Which one works for us? So these are things that we need to look at. 1, as an SME or MSMEs. 2, as somebody that is a technology or platform providers and seeing a market size and seeing the challenges and trying to bring in something that will serve as a win-win for us. So that's my view on it. Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much for that response. If we have more questions, we can send them in the chat, and would speak out always would help us to answer them. And if the questions come up maybe after the call, you can also send it to the RAS Omega platform. We'll always forward it to our lecturer also. So we'll be moving to, we have I sent the link to the Slido, the quiz for today's session, so we can join. So this is the same way we do it for every entrepreneurship series. So we can join the link, and the questions will be popping up on our devices shortly. If we have questions, we can still ask while we still have our speaker with us. Once again, we are using this medium to appreciate our speaker for guiding us to today's topic. I'm sure most of us already have, from the session, we have a better understanding of how we can use digital transformations in the various aspects of our businesses. Not just as businesses, as entrepreneurs, but even how to make our processes, even as employees, better. So we can start joining the link. Okay, we have two people. I also joined too, but because I just wanted to see if the link is working. So in case for those who are just joining, so the quiz, we always do this quiz for every entrepreneurship series, and the winner, whoever wins, there's always a prize for the winner at the end of the session. So something huge. So I implore every one of us to try. And for those who don't have the link, I can send it again. It's in the chat. I would also be sending it to the Ras Omega WhatsApp platform also. We have, I think, 7 people on the link, but technically that's like 6 because minus me. So we are waiting more participants. If we can get to like maybe half of the call, then that's good. So there's something huge, for whoever wins today's quiz. Okay, maybe if we get to 10 people outside of me, then so that's like maybe 11 people. So we'll get started. Okay. If one more person joins, then we'll get started. Let's have one more person and we can start. Okay, I guess we can just start because of time. So, first question. Why should entrepreneurs care about digital transformation? So, we have it on our screen. It's going.
Can you share your screen, sir?
Oh, okay. Sorry. I think I wasn't sharing. Apologies for that. Let me share my screen. This is what happens when you start getting old. Okay. Oh, just a sec. Oh, God, I have to give the call to be able to share. I just upgraded my. Sorry, if somebody is, if anyone else can share, that would be good because I just upgraded my OS and I need to accept some things before I can share. I have to give the call to do that.
Okay, let me see if I can share. But the poll is on, right?
Yeah, it's on.
Oh,
So I would have to. Okay, so I'm going to give you the answer for the first question. So the next question. Okay. Thank you, Ice for sharing. Next question.
my screen is up.
Yeah. Okay. So, next question. I'm the Mumini boy. Abdul Mumini Ibrahim is currently reading. So, okay. As innovation is not very involved. Question 7. How can digital transformation help entrepreneurs reach more customers? Okay, we have 3 more questions to go, and at the moment it's still reading. And yeah, so this question is for those who listen to the meditation. Okay, let's give you the answer. It's to the final question. Wow. Now it's time to give you the final leaderboard. Congratulations, Abdul Mumin Ibrahim. I think you've been winning this thing too much. So, a member of the team is going to reach out to you, inshallah. So, Jazakumullah khairan for everyone who has participated in today's session. Just like we said, so if you have more questions, we can always ask. So Yasumega, as we all know, is a community where, we are committed to seeing everyone grow, one way or the other. So if we have questions in our journey, we can always put it out there. There are many people in the community who are experiencing different things, who should be able to help us out. So we'll be calling today, but before we do that, I'll be calling on the chairman of membership committee to just give us maybe a quick vote of thank, or if the chairman of Ras Omega is available to do that. Chairman Ras Omega or Chairman Membership Committee, we get to be.
Assalamualaikum. Okay, Jazakumullah khairan to everyone for joining this call, and a special appreciation to distinguished guest in person of Mr. Femi Balogun. We appreciate your time. We really enjoyed your lecture. Pray that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala reward you in abundance and put barakah in your business, inshallah. And to everyone who's joined this call, we pray that everything that we've heard, that Allah make it easy for us to practice and also assist us in our dealings, inshallah. Jazakumullah khairan. To our host too, Jazakumullah khairan, even though it was a very late call. I mean, you still, made it happen. Jazakumullah khairan. Assalamu alaikum.
Jazakumullah khairan and everyone for joining. Till the next time we'll be hosting this. Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam.